But I must say, when it comes to the Capes, whether it's the Eastern Cape or the Western Cape, I find the weather quite unpredictable and a bit too much wind for me. Thankfully, the animals don't care too much, except when they smell a predator on that wind. Now remember that we are live and interactive, so please send through those questions and comments. I don't know about you, but I'm very thankful for the little saunter through the African bush, however virtually, this afternoon. Christy, Jan Powers, you say hi, everyone. Hi, Trish. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Why, thank you, Jan, for asking. Well, I built a desk with a friend of mine, and I brought it home this weekend. So it was a great weekend indeed. However, the weather was terrible, and I did find that where I parked my car, a branch had fallen on top of it. Not a big one, thankfully. It was just about a meter wide and just landed on the roof, but all is good now. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend too, and that goes for all of you. Dear NC says good morning from a dark, cold Seattle, but you're ready with a nice hot cup of coffee. I'm being a little Cape Townian today, and I have some kombucha. April Owl, you say good morning, everyone, from a sunny, cold Connecticut. You have cranberry and blueberry muffins. Can you share? I have never had a cranberry muffin. Casper's Third Ghost, you say happy Tuesday to all of us. Also have your coffee ready from a rainy Milwaukee. Very nice. Jack DeBoer says good morning from Chesapeake. MG Leopard Spot says hi. Kaoru says hi. Jean Gale says that she's here near Seattle with hot coffee and cranberry orange scotch. What is with the cranberries, everyone? I need some. Now, this looks like one of the mums with her young calf. So I remember, I think it was Mandy, but I stand to be corrected, that had the tracker on her, her wristwatch. And she had a little one there. I wonder if it is the same one. Because that little one has, well, both the calves, to be honest, were about the same age. There was a bit of a difference, but there wasn't a huge difference in size. And regardless, this one has really grown, which is wonderful to see. I also like that the zebras are just kind of watching them. Why not? Jen Lat says hello. Josh Brown says hello. Bridget McKinney. And then Bridget Jan Powell sends you a big hello too. I really miss it when I don't get to do these shows. And I suppose, unfortunately, I'm coming to you from Johannesburg, but I will be in the bush from tomorrow. So I'm very excited about that. So you won't see me on Thursday, but you will see me next week, and I'll tell you all about my adventures. Oh, yes, take a seat, little one. Why not just fall all the way down? Now, adult rhinos will do this as well. Everyone needs to rest, and imagine a massive body like that. They need to take, the weight off the joints every now and then. So most often with adults, I see them lying down like that calf has in mud wallows. But if they need to rest, they will do the same. And we often think that large animals don't lie down to sleep, but they do. And that includes elephants and giraffes. Just depends on what stage of sleep they're in. Kaoru, you say the Hadidas sounded upset or something. I mean, every Hadida I've ever seen didn't need to be upset to be making those sounds. If you heard a rather unpleasant bird go past just at the beginning when we started the show, that was a Hadida ibis. And they're all over the place here in South Africa, and they have a habit of waking up earlier than you and even sleeping later than you. I once heard one calling at about 9:30 p.m. Yeah. Not my favorite birds in the world, but I will tell you that I learned a lot from a Hadida. One had died. I don't know how it had died in my grandmother's backyard. And I watched it decompose over several days. At some stage, at about a week, very little decomposition happens. It's very slow. But for those first 5 days, it's really accelerated and things go quickly. So I did learn a lot from a Hadida. Oh, thanks everyone. You just letting me know it's that time of the year for cranberries. Well, over here, it's the time of the year for rain, which comes with it some amazing fruit, lots of mangoes, lychees. And if you're in the bush, marulas too, but more to the end of the season. Oh, this is a wonderful example of sharpening those horns. So when a rhino, I can't remember when we were having this discussion, maybe it was with Ben on Thursday during Wild Moments, but we were talking about horns and horn growth, and somebody had asked, I think Mindy Tillapau had asked about, please correct me if I'm wrong and let me know who did, about whether that pointedness would come back once a rhino has been dehorned. And ultimately, yes, it would. It's just that the whole point of dehorning the rhino is to keep it safe and less of a target for poachers, which means that if it grows to the length that allows it to be sharpened in the way that we're seeing right now, it would defeat the purpose of dehorning exercises. So rhinos are dehorned continuously. And what's really wonderful about a reserve like Founders is that their rhinos are not dehorned. And you might think that that's risky. And I suppose without thinking about anything else, yes, it is. But when you find that there are reserves who allow their rhinos to keep their horns, I know that sounds a bit weird, right? Now I'm going to rephrase that. That don't dehorn, because we don't have, yeah, I don't like the phrasing of the first time. It tells you that their anti-poaching unit and the security that they have at that reserve is top notch, because nobody wants to lose their rhinos. Nobody. And Jack DeBoer, you're saying both the black rhino and the white rhino have been hunted for their horns? Absolutely. Some to extinct or close to extinction in many parts of Africa. All for rhino horns. So if you see an area where there are still rhinos with these beautiful, impressive horns, it means that the management of that reserve is doing everything to make sure that nobody can compromise their rhinos. And a lot of the time, it's things you don't see, and for good reason. And the sharpness at the edge just comes as a result of using the horn and scratching on one side. So, I mean, I can't say I know exactly what the rhino is thinking, but it may not be specifically with the intent of sharpening the horn. Think about, claws, the sheets of a claw gets, especially if it's getting sort of dry and hanging and is catching on things, then cats will instinctually paw at things to get those sheets loose. And rhinos, it's a similar thing. The horn is catching, there's a bit that's a bit old, a bit loose, feels uncomfortable, and then they scratch. And you can also see on that rock, if you're paying attention to the rock before, that it's clearly quite a rubbing post. And hello, little goslings. Nice to see 3 of them. Pretty sizable. Oh, 2 of them. That was just another adult. Oh, Andy, you're asking, where are the impala lambs? I'm just trying to remember if anyone has seen one yet. Maybe Eggsy and Melanie, who are our wonderful crew in the background. If you've heard of any lambs on any of the cameras, let me know. but it's still a little bit early. This is usually the time we would bet on when lambs are going to drop. And last year, maybe it was the year before, I bet the 26th of November because it was my brother's birthday. And it was still too early. So they're definitely on their way, Andy. It's just a patience game. In fact, the earliest lamb that I'd ever seen was was around the end of November, and it was at a neighboring reserve called Amakala, just pretty much next to Founders. So maybe this is the camera to see it on first, but I can't say I've seen many impalas coming up to this waterhole. Anyway, it's been super peaceful, nice variety here, zebras, goslings, and rhinos. But let us head over to the hide and see what's been going on there. We've had some pretty cool bird sightings there. Oh, cutie. Oh, here we go. Do we have kites again? Looks like it. Now, they've been hanging around here quite a lot. And I wonder why. Now, yellow-billed kites have, like many birds of prey, have a huge range of things they will eat. If it can fit in their mouths, they will eat it. Sometimes they do scavenge as well, but they certainly seem to like the hide. We had a little egret as well going past there. Oh, it might have been a cattle egret, actually. Oh, whose tall legs are those? My goodness. That looked a bit like a horror movie. Oh, I wonder if this kite, do you have a slight deformity on your leg or your foot? Hmm. We will see if we can get a closer look. MG leopard spots talking about founders and those rhino, you're wondering, because we see so many rhino there, are they drawn to particular water holes or just anywhere water is? I have noticed that rhinos tend to have favorite water holes. Definitely those that they frequent more often and kind of becomes their hangout spot to the point where you can rely on, if you want to see a rhino, you can wait at this water hole and one is bound to come through. But at this time of the year, we have been receiving rains already. So that means that all these seasonal pans that are just around for the couple months when it's raining, they're easy access. So rhinos or any water-dependent animal for that matter doesn't necessarily have to come to the big dams or the big water holes to get a drink or to cool down. They can stop pretty much anywhere along the way, which makes sightings a bit harder. And I think kind of overrides that preference for a specific water hole. Now, at Founders, I don't know the lay of the land there well enough to figure out if there are maybe what the distance between water holes are and whether the other water holes are maybe frequented by animals that the rhino are not particularly keen on crossing paths with, like lions. Jen Lat, you say it's great to hear that there's so much focus on anti-poaching measures. It's hard work, but it's so worth it. It absolutely is. If we don't put in the hard work to preserve what we have and do the best for the animals and the environment, they're all gonna go. And then what? We can't bring them back, especially with the rate of change, because animals do naturally go extinct, and this is just part of the cycle of nature. Things go extinct, new animals or new species emerge. But the rate at which it happens right now really doesn't give nature enough time to recover for animals to speciate and to adapt. But it does happen on a molecular level, at a rate that's faster than us being able to see it or on a phenotypic level. Karu, you say you don't know whether to say ew or super interesting. A decomposing hadida sounds fascinating and yuck all at once. That is a great description. That is exactly what it was like. But it taught me a lot about bird anatomy and just being curious about what a bird looks like. It also showed me what hollow bones are like. Now, bigger birds like a Hardida ibis or even the yellow-billed kite that we're seeing, not that they are extremely huge, they're still under a kilogram each, whether it's a male or female here, I mean, these yellow-billed kites. Uh, so smaller birds, the perching birds or passerines, they tend to have very hollow bones, very, very light. These ones slightly denser, but still hollow. And then you get birds like penguins that have dense bones, which makes sense because they need to be able to stay underwater. And hollow bones are not going to be very helpful. Oh, it's Jive Bunny. Hi, Jive Bunny. Thank you for joining us. I haven't heard your name in a while. I'm glad that you're coming to us all the way from a chilly UK. Zygote, you're welcome. Thank you very much. I'm glad you got your takeaway, which sounds delicious. And no worries that you are late at all. They're so curious. These yellow-billed kites. We used to see them a lot in KwaZulu-Natal, where I was born. It was probably the first bird of prey, I guess, that I learned to recognize. But they definitely seem to gather here, and that tells me either it's a place where there is a food source that is abundant, which tends to bring many of the same species together. Not even the same species, many of the same animals that are looking for that particular resource. And I wonder what it could be. Maybe some insects. Definitely don't think there's a surplus of small mammals here for them to go after. Maybe some alates, the reproductive caste of termites. Seems a bit early though. Whatever it is, they're super happy. And it seems like the rhinos are still at Founders, so let's head over and see what they're up to. Oh, that's nice. Show us your butt too. Do it. I do love. I mean, we're seeing quite a few butts right now. Got a zebra butt too. Rhinos have very, very cute butts. Oh, okay. I'll be quiet. Oh, now remember I told you about the whole fluid dynamics of a bladder and the volume of a bladder versus how quickly you relieve yourself, etc., and how this seems to be the same across almost all mammals because our bladders are proportional to our size, etc. So the number is 21 seconds. Now I counted 19 seconds for this rhino, but I could have been off. And I also gave you all homework. This was like a couple months ago. I'm a bad teacher. I'm not collecting the homework to tell me what your time was. But remember, it has to be a full bladder. And this is not me making up stuff or reading an anecdote. There are actual papers on this. It is one of those wonderful times where biology and physics intersect. And I do love that because My favorite thing about the bush is that it's not just about wildlife. It's not just about the animals we're seeing and their personalities and learning about animals and their biology. There's a ton of chemistry, and complex physics that's going on in their bodies, and the environment and the way that they interact with the environment, not to mention the climate and the geology and all of that. And that's why I love the bush. All of it comes together. Bridget, you're asking about the kites earlier. Is it that kind of congregation prevalent? Definitely there. At the Hyde, they seem to gather quite a lot. But generally speaking, well, I mean, they're monogamous, so you're going to see them in pairs. Sorry, I'm just going to be quiet because I think this youngster was making sounds. Oh, yes, it has. Oh, I love the sound so much. I've only ever heard it in person once. So cute. But just to tie up your question, Bridget, you do see them um, in groups, but they tend to be mixed groups. It doesn't necessarily have to be all kites. And as we had predicted, it usually happens around some kind of food source. They're not unusual, but not in terms of sightings, not super common. It's not like every time I see a kite, I see them in a group or a congregation. Oh, you're just so tired. Yeah, tough life. Gordon J, you said years ago you got to feed and sit with Morani, who's a black rhino at Alpejita. That is amazing. They do some wonderful work there. And you also say that one of the guards explained all about him and the work that they were doing there. Really, there are people on this continent and around the world that do an exceptional job of taking care of our rhinos. Exceptional. There are areas where, in the wild, where a specific rhino has a specific person that will walk and follow through the bush from a distance and keep guard on specific individuals, take shifts, and not just in the areas where they're threatened or if they're injured or anything like that. No, like as a strategy. It's amazing the good that people do. I think we hear so much about the bad, but it's wonderful to be reminded that there are plenty of people and organizations that really do exceptional work. Oh, Judy and Thomas, you said that there was a black kite as well in the bunch that we saw, and there was a black tip to the beach. I didn't see that. Maybe we should go back to the hide because that would be very, very nice. It is the right time for them. But I can't say I've ever seen one, to be honest. I know about them, I know that they would come from Europe, like you say, Julian Thomas. Thank you so much for catching that. Let's go back and look. Yes, Jive Bunny, the cute little rhino does have little Shrek ears and a cute call too. And we can definitely come back, but I would really like to see the black kite that Julian has pointed out. I suppose it wouldn't be unusual because kites do tend to hang out together. Now, do you have a black tip? You look pretty yellow. Oof, and now there's a bit of a shadow. Hmm. Let's have a look. Let's check what the others look like. I've always felt like a black kite has a paler head than a yellow-billed kite. Hello, guinea fowl. Kaoru, yes, you're right. The juveniles of the juveniles of yellow-billed kites do have a black end to their beaks. Maybe that's what we're looking at. I lean towards that more. I mean, it's possible that it is a black kite. Like I said, I've never seen one in real life, I mean, but it's not impossible. I also, hmm. Okay, I think you tell me what you guys think. I know that Kaoru reckons juvenile yellow-billed kite. Julian, you still sticking with black kite? 'Cause as far as I know, actually, black kites are intra-African migrants, not European. Julian, I do agree with you there. Um, Bird namers can, yeah, definitely can't make up their minds. The amount of bird books that I have that have different names for different birds, it is astounding. Yeah, I think that is correct. A lot of times we see variation, especially those things that are not obvious. So when it comes to a black tip on a bull, that's easy to see. But things like a paler head or slightly more streaked, those things are a little bit relative and can be more difficult to kind of like nail down. What is that in the middle of our screen? Oh, now a little to our left. It looks quite large unless it's a couple of the kites. So if we zoom straight in, you can zoom straight in from here. Oh no, now we're a little off center. So back where we were, there was something big. Yeah. Sometimes I wish I could okay. And then to the left. No. It was way off to the left. Obviously, there's always a little bit of a delay. So when I say left, left, it comes later. So it's never a good idea to do this Trishala. Karu, you say considering that they with the yellow-billed kites is probably a family group. Yeah, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be a family group. This is definitely a yellow-billed kite. But a food source can bring lots of kites to the area. Not just kites, but other birds that are interested in that food source as well. But I will agree that they are yellow-billed kites. Oh, let us head over to Safari Hook. I'm not paying attention here because I'm so busy trying to figure out what birds, whether it's a black kite or yellow-billed kite. But I think we can be certain that it is a yellow-billed kite. But we can head over. Oh, there we go. Oh, very nice. Now I can't say I'm very good with my small brown birds. Oh, no, no, but Karu or one of you will know because my first, where are you? Sorry, I'm looking through my bird app now to get the bird that I thought it was. Of course, as soon as we go, it moves. Oh, there you are. All right, let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. Oh my goodness. Absolutely stunning. When I first saw it, I thought it was a long-tailed cuckoo, and then I saw the head. I mean, a barred long-tailed cuckoo, which is a bird I've really wanted to see. And now I'm having that panic where I know this bird and I forget its name. So I'm scrolling through my app, see if I can find it. Help me out, people. Come on, Karu. I know that you know the bird. This happened with the Abdom stork the other day as well. Where are you? Absolutely stunning. You can see the shape of the wings and the head, short beak, really telling you that it's built for speed and movement. Looks a bit big for a kestrel. Wing shape is off as well. Oh. Ah, that was also, I also thought a rock kestrel, but then I felt that it was too. I always know a rock kestrel as with the gray head. I'm just replying to Julian. But the coloration and everything is right, but somehow it feels. Let's look through kestrels. Because then I thought maybe a greater kestrel. So that one is bigger, but coloration is off on the wings. What other ideas do we have? I once saw a, I mean, could it be an immature rock kestrel actually? That would account for the head not gray yet. Karu, you are confident it's a rock kestrel. Would I be correct in saying that it's immature? Because I always associate the gray head with rock kestrels, and I only know the immature ones to have no gray head yet. I think it must be. Well done, everyone. It is absolutely beautiful. I always find that it's difficult. I mean, when it comes to birds I hardly see, I always find it difficult. But I'm very thankful to have all of you around to help me out. I remember once seeing, or the first time I'd actually seen a rock kestrel that was not, you know, 500 meters away, was when I was in a bird hide, uh, actually not very far from Johannesburg, very close to Johannesburg. And I got into the hide because it was terrible, terrible weather outside. Uh, and little did I know a rock kestrel had thought the same thing. And that was the first time, and it was a female. She was absolutely stunning, and just you could see the darker head, and she was just holding on to the inside, like on the ledge on the inside of the hide. And I thought, wow, she didn't even react to me. And I thought, this is an amazing kestrel sighting. And I said, I'm never going to forget a rock kestrel gray head. And then you come along with your brown head to just remind me that we don't always look for adult coloration. Anyway, with the kestrel moved off, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for always helping me with my birds. And I will see you next week when I return for the bush. Thanks for your questions and comments, everybody. See you next time. Bye for now.